Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey, welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the podcast where we discuss all things tech, from AI to VR, robots to flying cars, and all the weird stuff in between. I'm Kevin Doyle. This week I'm joined by Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel. So coming up in this week's show, we have fake AI-generated images have caused a dip in the stock market, Apple's new live speech and personal voice, Amazon is using AI to get your packages to you faster, you can get a free TV just if you watch a whole bunch of ads for free TV. Free in quotation marks, correct, Sarah? And the state of Montana has banned TikTok. So let's start out with fake AI-generated images and causing a dip in the stock market. So there was a few reports about this. So what happened? This was only a couple of days ago. We're recording this on Wednesday. This happened, I think it was on Monday, coming into Monday. So there's kind of two angles to this story. One is around Twitter verified accounts, and the other is around this kind of stock market dip, which is the one that kind of made the headline, really. But basically what happened is a fake-looking, but really unconfirmed because nobody claimed it, AI-generated image that showed basically a building that is kind of unrecognizable and a bunch of smoke next to it. And the caption that read next to it said, "Large explosion near the Pentagon complex in Washington, D.C., initial report." And that's what it said. So what happened was some Twitter-verified accounts tweeted this. One that was claiming to be tied to Bloomberg, and then a bunch of others like kind of jumped on this thing, being like, and retweeted it and kind of picked this thing up, including some actual real news outfits too, including it actually made it on TV. It made it on TV in India and Russia, apparently. They had to ultimately retract their hey, we found this on Twitter and clearly it's fake story. So if you've looked at the picture, I'll link to it in the show notes, but it's the building I've never seen before. I've been there. I've not seen that. It doesn't look real. It doesn't look like the Pentagon. I'm going to put it that way. Well, I don't know if the building is a real building or not, but the picture definitely looks fake. But the side effect of this was that I say side effect. I'm just going to say the stock market fell slightly by less than 1% in kind of the time that this was reported. So we're talking about Dow Jones and S&P 500. So my immediate instinct was coincidence, maybe. Correlation, not causation, kind of like situation, just happenstance, don't know. It was less than 1%, so it wasn't a big dip. But if it was, it kind of comes back to that thing where fake imagery can kind of be an issue, and it can have an actual real-world effect that we've kind of been talking about on this podcast for weeks now. So, Bobby, I'll come to you first. We've definitely talked about this before, but have we thought about all the ways that these images could affect us, and what are your thoughts on this fake image?
So first off, I think that I find it a coincidence. The coincidence I see it is that they released the image and then Russian media runs it immediately. So it does sound like the Russians made the image, put it out on a fake Twitter account, and put it on television to see what would happen. I don't know. The larger concern is you have AI or robots or bots that are actually doing automated trading on the stock market. And I know they're trying to be first and the algo training tries to be work, but it seems like they would check their sources. I find it incomprehensible that they found a nowhere Twitter account and they said, sell it all. It just seems weird, but I guess they're monitoring news accounts. And Russian media put it out there. And I think that's what triggered the stock market. I don't think it's the Twitter guy from the fake Bloomberg account that triggered the sell-off. I think it was more about the news media actually picking it up. And so what news media is going to have to do, we have to stop trying to be first and have headline news the second it happens. And they need to start going back to actually journalistic integrity and start looking at, hey, is this real? Or is this fake? We don't have to have it out at 10:06. We could wait till 10:30 and still be okay. The other thing is we got to stop looking at Twitter as a news source as a society in the US. It's okay to see it in passing, but if you're really concerned about something, you should go to one of the big news outlets, CNN, Fox News, NBC, CBS, ABC, one of those that is trusted, and then you do it. And I do think if I was running a hedge fund right now and I had an algo trading, I would be looking at why did this happen? Like, that thing was totally fake. If someone tried to do something worse, would we sell things when we didn't have to and we'd lose a lot of money? Now, the average consumer, stock market goes down for 30 minutes, probably doesn't bother you that much.
Yeah.
Your 401k wasn't suffered. It recovered 15 minutes later. So I don't think there's a regulation to stop this. I think we just got to be better at like certain triggers and things that cause us to lose confidence in the stock market because someone made an image up. The image wasn't even great. I mean, like, I looked further into it, Kevin. That building is fake.
Okay.
Yeah, the building itself is fake. Yeah.
It looks a little bit like a mix between the White House and some other like nondescript like building. It's not the Pentagon, that's for sure.
Yeah, you can look real closely and there's some artifacts on the building that don't belong to the building. You can tell it's a merged image.
Okay.
The fence is wrong. There's some windows are wrong. There's some stuff hanging off of it.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. I think it's interesting. I think it's something. I don't think it's everything. I think that the bigger thing I'd be concerned about is my algorithms. If I was running an algo trading desk, I'd be looking into like, what sources are we looking at? And can we trust the Russian news media anymore? Are they creating things and then running on their on the media and saying, hey, it's real, it happened. And then it caused us to go down. I would hopefully that they're looking at that right now. I think they would, because billions of dollars a day is at stake for them. Because they ran some shorts and they probably lost money for 6 minutes. I'm sure they got it back though.
Right. It just makes me wonder what other areas we're not thinking about, because we've talked about this before about the fake images, and we've talked about the Pope image in particular, and watching these images in peripheral and seeing them, and we kind of like become this. We get our news from Twitter and from peripherally scrolling. We see an image and we kind of go past it and we think it's kind of just fact from then on until somebody actually tells us it's not. We never really research this stuff. So it makes me wonder, at that time, I would have never thought that somebody could have put out a fake image that could affect the stock market. Like that wouldn't have been like in my I wouldn't have thought that until this happened. So I'm wondering what other things are we just not thinking about where this imagery is more harmful than we even can conceive.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Paul, Sarah? Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, so the Twitter angle was really interesting to me because I feel like with the blue check mark becoming completely diluted, it doesn't really matter anymore. But they really need to come up with a more hybrid, because before it was really difficult to get the blue check mark, where like someone like me, I would want that blue check mark so people know that I am the legit family tech, but it was difficult for me to get that. So I would like to pay to like, hey, can you just make sure that I am family tech? And, that would be great. And that kind of like bumps you to the beginning of the line or whatever, but it still needs to have that like verified element, not just like, hey, this blue check mark now means that you just pay for something. Like it still needs to have that verified element.
You can make longer tweets now. That's what you're paying for.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I can edit my tweets. Yay.
Yeah, it's the word verified that always got me. When this became a paid solution, the word verified didn't really mean anything anymore. It didn't mean verified. Verified previously meant that, yes, I vouch that this person is who they say they are. But now that like this person had a verified account that was supposedly linked to Bloomberg and somehow, but it wasn't. Bloomberg said, hey, that's not us, but you verified it, and that's just wrong. The blue check mark means nothing anymore. It doesn't mean it means nothing. It doesn't mean verified. It means I gave Twitter $8. That's what it means, and I'm paying for these extra features. It's the word verified that's wrong.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like your $8 verified. The craziest thing is I've never, and maybe it's just because I'm just always skeptical of like social media and stuff like that I've never thought of Twitter as being legitimate like news. But at the same time, there should be some responsibility where, there should be like some sort of tag. This is real verified news thing. At the same time, it's kind of wild that just, seeing the image and people reposting it, how it affected the stock market. And I wonder if someone's going to look at this and be like, I wonder if I build a bot that does this whole cycle automatically, create some AI image, cause a bunch of retweets. I know the stock market is going to go by. I'm going to have my auto traders do their thing. I'm going to make some money, and I'm just going to repeat the cycle. It's kind of crazy. And also the fact that Russians, retweeted it and reshared it to me is like, they better do that. And people be like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, because did you see what they did? They flew their drone into their own like Capitol building in Russia. Like and they did it
allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, allegedly. Please don't hurt me. Allegedly, while like the fire department was on call and it's like if you were to destroy a building, like that's not the place. And so to me, I'm like, they just wanted to be like, we quickly got to divert attention, quickly, you know. But all kidding aside, it's kind of frightening that how image that's not verified could have this like trigger effect that could lead to real consequences. And, you know, so now like people, I feel like have to, you know, put their skeptic hats on and be like, is Twitter the only place that shared it, or can I verify it with like 4 other sources before jumping to conclusions? I think
a news outlet should absolutely do that.
100%.
I'm still shocked today that they write complete news articles and the source of it is 6 tweets. Like, why is that a source? I mean, you know, this is the reaction of the American people on this subject, and they go to Twitter to find it, which is weird in my opinion. It seems like
I think the issues become that we've now been conditioned that mainstream news isn't always truthful and they can get things wrong. Therefore, getting it from the horse's mouth is now the way to go. So getting it from social is now the way to get it. You're getting it straight from source. But I trust it way less.
The news media is doing that, though. That's what they did. They're the ones that go to Twitter to find out things. Obviously, the Russian and the Indian, both news outlets, believed this Twitter story and ran it on television. Like, they didn't call a source at the Pentagon or call anyone in the Washington, D.C. area that says, hey, is the Pentagon on fire? I mean, like,
I guess partly the reason is, though, don't forget, partly the reason is, though, because the story benefited them. It benefited them to run the negative news story, and they can say, like, we had a source, it was here. We didn't really do good. We'll pull back if we need to pull back, like an hour later once it's out there. It's like the cat's out of the bag now. It doesn't matter.
But Paul, you're right. There are some unscrupulous investors that said, could I make a trading bot that could benefit from this? That's a problem if that's the key. If they can trigger other bots to do this, I think that's a problem. And that's where it's not the image problem. It's you as the trading platform. You need to figure that part of it out.
This was a single image. A single image caused this, and not a very good one, like you said. Upon stringent looking at it, it's like it's not actually that good. Wait till we get video.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna scrap my next project coding idea that I was working on because it will incriminate me. I feel like it's not like allegedly I was gonna do that, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. I wonder though, like, you know how like some people, they're really into like social media. Twitter is the truth, and I wonder if someone had like a mental like breakdown because they couldn't understand the world, where they're looking at Twitter, they're like, Pentagon is on fire, and then they look out the window, but it's not. And then they're like, who do I believe? Do I believe my own eyes, or do I believe Twitter? And they're having like this mental meltdown, like they can't comprehend like reality and Twitter existing in one place. It's social media is wild place.
Yeah, it's just news needs to do a better job. I mean, that's the point. That's why people don't trust them. They need to do a better job at like vetting things and stop relying on these unnamed sources and anonymous things and running with it before they vet it at all. Yeah.
To your point, Bobby, I think I was going to say, like, you know, they have a bad press now, but I think this is an opportunity for these big news organizations to try to regain the public trust by starting to be like, you know what, we're going to start to do our due diligence and try to see if they could win the trust back. Because if the big media is terribly wrong and Twitter is terribly wrong, what do you get your news from? It's just going to be like fake news everywhere. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, true. Okay, move on to our next story then. This is Apple's new accessibility features called Live Speech and Personal Voice. These things are cool. So the interesting thing about these new features is Apple put these out in a press release on a random Tuesday, May 16th, right? With WWDC coming up, it's kind of crazy because these features are really cool, and I would have really expected them to be released at WWDC, but they're not, which means we have big things coming for WWDC for sure. If this just comes out on a random press release, just like the previous ones they've done, it's going to be a big deal. So this feature, though, it's a couple of different features. So it's basically designed it's tools for individuals who are non-speaking or at risk of losing their the ability to speak. So basically people who, for instance, somebody who's diagnosed with ALS, for instance, and you're going to lose your voice. So there's something called live speech. So live speech is basically, it's going to run on an iPhone, an iPad, and a Mac. And you can type in whatever you want to have it said, and it will say those words out loud, either on a out of the phone, so out of the speaker, or on a phone call, or on a FaceTime. So it's kind of like, think Stephen Hawking kind of thing, right? Kind of voice that speaks out of a thing where you kind of type it in. It's also going to have like quick buttons too, so for like pre-made phrases and those kind of things. Think like soundboard style thing kind of thing, but it's personalized. But then they have another feature called personal voice. So personal voice allows you to basically read about 15 minutes of pre-configured text that then learns your voice. So you can do this on an iPhone or an iPad. It will learn your voice. Then that, in combination with live speech, will basically make your phone sound just like you. This is super cool for me. So 11 Labs already has a feature like this. I've played with it a little bit. You can train your voice. I've trained it with like 5 minutes of voice, and it sounds pretty good. It can get pretty close. This is not a new feature. This is not new tech we're talking about here. But here's what it is, and here's where it's massive. It's massive because it's going to be on every single iPhone. So something like 11 Labs right now is like this niche-like product that's out there, and like nobody's, the only people using it are people in podcasting or people who are messing with AI. But this is like going to be on everybody's iPhone. I expect almost everybody to want to use this because you never know. You run the risk of ultimately losing your voice at some point or passing on. And it's like your voice can forever exist on your phone or in the cloud somewhere or something. So it uses on-device machine learning for security as well, which is another great thing. Doesn't go up to the cloud apparently. And they kind of these two, live speech and personal voice, kind of work seamlessly together. So I'm going to ask you first, Sarah. I know you're not an iPhone user. I've watched enough of your videos to know you're an Android user.
Truth.
But does this seem like something you'd be interested in?
Actually, no. And I see like a really bad side of that. Like, for example, my grandma, when she was still alive, got a phone call from somebody claiming to be my brother. And it was convincing enough, like, she was like on her way out the door to like go send him money. And like, she just called my sister-in-law and she tried not to rat my brother out. She was like, hey, so is Tim there? Like, totally like on the sly. And then my sister-in-law called my brother and was like, your grandma sounds really weird. We better call her. But like, just to impersonate somebody, and I can see this happening with like predators and things like that, where they are, disguising their voice basically as somebody younger or somebody, that's more benign and, fooling other people with this feature. So I don't like it.
And we have seen this. We covered a story a couple of weeks back where there was the story with the young lady whose mom got a call at the baseball game, was like, hey, I've been kidnapped. And like the mom kind of fell for it until she was able to get the daughter on the phone and be like, this is junk. But yes, right. Definitely. What do you guys think about this?
So you buried the lead about this is running on an iPhone. That's what's crazy about this. So
yes,
we have OpenAI that's running in Azure on 10 billion computers, or I don't know how many millions of NVIDIA chips to do it, to make this scalable. The same thing's true in Bard. Apple has found a way to run voice transcribing, voice to text, and text to speech on an iPhone, and apparently it's running locally. That means the model is exceptionally small comparatively to the other models. The inputs are smaller, but the result, we'll see. And that Apple has a track record, it's going to be stunning. I mean, like they wouldn't have released it if it wasn't. And so that's what's kind of the amazing thing, is that these LLMs are getting really small and we can do amazing things with them. And that's why it makes you wonder how long OpenAI, which should be renamed to Closed AI now because they're not open any longer, but Closed AI is just, it's in trouble unless they build a moat. And I think that's why they went to Congress to go try to get some regulations put in place, because Apple put this on an iPhone. They're like, dude, this is a lot smaller. Y'all, not all that in a bag of chips. So I do think having your voice clonable is bad. I mean, so you could fool people to do other things for you. And I don't think but it's out of the bag now, because once it's on an iPhone, it'll be on an Android device. It'll run on any PC. It's not like Apple has, I don't think, anything special. They're just the first people to really do it at scale.
Yep.
And you could, how many voices can you train? Only one or 20? Can you pick a voice on the iPhone and just have one device that just mimics everybody? So I don't know.
I'm kind of curious. I know they say, oh, it'll never go to the cloud, but I'm sure, like, what is the fine print going to be? Like, do you opt in until you opt out, or how's it going to work? And every time you have a FaceTime conversation, are they training their model behind the scenes on your voice and your face while you're having a conversation? And so I feel like the blur against privacy, like, is just so blurry that it's terrible. But on the other hand, part of me is like, well, brings me closer to me never having to talk to people I don't want, because I could have an AI like that previous. I think they stole my idea, by the way, because I did have this idea not like a couple of shows
answering
ago.
Machine.
Answering machine that's trained on my AI voice that just basically has conversations with people I don't want to talk to. Like, I'm just too busy. Like, what are you doing? I'm not doing anything, but I just don't want to talk to you. And so now I'm like, there's going to be voice, there's going to be video. I could create a bot, and I'm like, automated Paul, like, dating profile generator thing that will just do it'll be like A/B testing. It'll quickly figure out what works, what doesn't. And all I have to do is just sit at home, not do anything. I'll have these dates. I think it's got some positives, but I think it does has some negatives too. Like you mentioned, I think, right now, for instance, and I'll get these calls accidentally, but a lot of these people, they prey on the elderly because they feel like it's easy to kind of convince them. And so they'll call him, and the fact people do that because it works. And now if you have a more believable way, like Sarah, you were saying, it's like, how easy is it going to be to fool someone at that age? Especially when sometimes, like, this is going to sound terrible, but I used to sell like car insurance, like, to the elderly. And sometimes people will call not because they wanted a quote. They just wanted to talk to someone on the phone. And so when someone calls them and they sound very believable, and like, maybe they're like, oh, is that my like sister's kid? Just want to say hello. And they're like, oh, I'll do whatever. Just talk to me. Like, okay, I'll write this check for you, like whatever. And that's just terrible, And so like, I do want to see like some regulations around it, or like what's going to happen. The one thing that I could tell is that the technology is going to advance way faster than any regulations will. And so this is going to be just crazy and interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think for young people that can get like kidnapped or whatever, I know you have daughters, and I would worry about if I had daughters, where some guy could like say that it's her friend, and then they could say, hey, let's meet up at the mall. I'll see you at 7:30. They know where they're going to be at what time, and they get snatched because they thought it was, their friend, their best friend on the phone. I think that is scary. I don't know. I'm hoping maybe Apple can make it not believable enough where it sounds pretty good, but
no, I think it's going to sound very good. I think I do. I think it's going to sound very, very good, and it's going to be almost indistinguishable. But from a security perspective, I think what they're saying is that they're keeping it on device, and that it's you that trains it and it's you that uses it. This is unlike what like 11 Labs is doing. You can train 11 Labs on anything. You can
just send a WAV file to it, yeah.
I fed 11 Labs Morgan Freeman, and it gave me Morgan Freeman back, and I can make him say whatever I want to make him say.
Right.
Like, so that cat's out of the bag already. But the fact that it's going to get mainstream adoption with an iPhone, I'm not sure you're going to be able to train it with other voices. I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know.
I mean, if this is the killer feature, and then Apple sells more phones because of it, it's guaranteed coming to Android. And then you have every device has it.
Yeah.
All right, kids, I'm going to give you advice. Listen carefully, all the young listeners. So back when I was 10, 11, 12, it was really hard to call myself out of school, but I figured out a system. So now you have a very easy way to do so. All you got to do is you take your iPhone, you go to your mom. Hey, mom, like, can you just tell me a reminder of something I have to do? Like, just speak into my phone so I could listen later and remember to do my homework or something. And then just train the model. And then when you're in school, you're just not feeling up to it. Just like call and play the model. You're good.
Will you read me a story, Mom?
Yeah, exactly. Again, for those of you who are taking me high,
why do you want a story?
Yeah, right. By the way, disclaimer here, I'm joking, please.
Right.
They've already thought of it, Paul. I'm sure
this is where Ferris Bueller went wrong, isn't it?
Yeah. The funniest story is that I remember one day I was sick, and I'm like part Ukrainian, part Russian, and my grandma was the one who was babysitting me. I went to the doctor. I was like, oh, I'm sick. I wasn't. And And I'm like, oh, I just don't feel good. I gotta like call somebody like to pick. And she's like, okay, as long as someone could pick you up, like they could do it. I'm like, okay. So I call my grandmother in like, she speaks both Ukrainian and Russian. I don't speak Ukrainian that well, so I spoke to her in Russian. I was like, hey, grandma, what's up? I just wanted to call you, tell you I love you. I hope you're having a good time. You know, just wanted to check in. And then I hang up and to the doctor, I'm like, oh my God. I talked to because she speaks Russian to me and the nurse couldn't speak Russian. So I translated. I'm like, yeah, my grandma said, like, if you're sick, we're going to come pick you up. But just like because I can't get out of the car, I'm just going to pull up by the thing and you just meet me there. And the nurse is like, okay, as long as they're coming. I'm like, yeah, they're coming. And so I skipped school and I left. But the funny part is, this is like in the middle of the winter. I'm walking and I'm like, well, I got out of school, but my dad, he used to do deliveries. And I'm like, if he spots me, I'm going to be in so much trouble, my stepfather. So I took my jacket, put it inside out because it's like different color. No one's going to notice me. So I get home, I play video games. My parents come back and we're eating dinner, right? We're eating dinner. And my stepdad looks at me and like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. Like he definitely caught me. It's like, why the hell would you wear your jacket inside out? He didn't put the two and two together that I was leaving school too early. So he just basically made fun of me like for wearing my jacket inside out. And I was like, yeah, you got me. Like, what was I thinking? I was like, thank you God.
I love that your Superman disguise was switching your jacket inside out. Nobody will know it's me.
100%. When you're that age, that makes perfect sense. Let me tell you.
That's great. That's funny. Okay, let's move on to our next story. So, Amazon's using AI to get your packages to you faster. So Amazon's heavily leaning into AI on the delivery front now. They're using it for mapping, planning routes, improving search functions, and ultimately determining where to store inventory. Because this is a problem, right? Especially in the US. It's a big country, right? When you order something from Amazon, you got to make sure that to get your item to you in 1 or 2 days, it's got to be within a distribution center that's kind of can get to you within 1 or 2 days. And that's getting better and better and better. I don't know if you guys, we have same day Amazon here now, which for Kernersville, North Carolina is like kind of crazy. We have an Amazon hub like right down the road. So if the item's in our warehouse, we can kind of get it really fast. So they're now using AI to help with this. So last year they also unveiled in their distribution centers something called the Sparrow. And if you guys have seen this, it's a robot arm. It's a big yellow robot arm that replaced a bunch of people. Well, they're saying it didn't replace people, but it's clearly meant to replace people. So it's also uses some kind of like AI technology, I guess, to pick and pack or whatever it's doing, or sorting this stuff faster. So I'm going to ask you, Paul, what do you think about replacing humans at Amazon fulfillment centers with robots and AI? And if it means you can get like same day beef jerky, is it worth the
Oh my gosh.
effort?
Until you said the part replacing humans, I was like so on board. I was like, finally, a company that's doing something positive with AI, figuring out the fastest way to deliver their package and sorting, unlike these fake news generators that cause mayhem. And then you're like, but then they're also good building these robots, they're going to replace other. And so I think like Amazon, definitely that's their plan, is to replace as many human workers as possible. And I feel like there's got to be a line somewhere, like, because, you know, humans are human beings and everybody should have the right to do or have access to work. And just because you could automate like humans out of like replacement, like argument could be like the one argument I heard, like Amazon's like, oh, this is not serious work. This is temporary while you try to, you know, skill up or whatever. But that's just not how life works sometimes. And, you know, people rely on like the income to like support their kids. And sometimes people have to get that second job. And so I feel like in the whole big picture, just because you can't automate people out of a job, you should think and see what kind of consequence it's going to have on society. Because when people come in and work, they work for the money you pay them. If you take people out of the the equation, you have the robots that work, but the people whose jobs it replaced, they're not benefiting from that, right? The only Amazon or the company benefits. And so it's like, hey, if you're going to remove this whole workforce, and there's going to be, let's say, 20% less people that will be able to have jobs, what is your responsibility to help them out? Because you killed basically the job. It's not that they don't want to work, they want to work, but now you gave them no opportunity to work. And so I feel like I'm all for it as long as not for like replacing jobs and not doing, but I feel like if a company is going to do that, there should be some sort of law that they give back to society in some way. And I don't know if that's even possible, but in the ideal situation, it's like what I would like. I was always wondering, like, how can I make sense of this for me to be happy with this? And so for me, I feel like if Amazon's making robots, I should be able to pay like, say, like $200 a month, and I'm buying that robot that works at Amazon. And so that robot, I own that robot. That robot works for Amazon for me, and I collect the paycheck. Like, they should have an option for people to invest. And so what I was thinking about, like, is with all these AI companies coming out, and I know they're going to destroy jobs. So how can I build a moat? So I'm like, man, I'm going to have to invest money in those companies so I get a return of at least something from the money that they're making. So once like I heard like OpenAI and Microsoft are like this, I was like, oh, I'll buy some Microsoft because I can't buy OpenAI right now, you know? And it's like, but most people, like a lot of people don't think that way. And it's like, you know, how do you keep yourself safe from that?
I'm going to leave some fears for you right now. If you look at history, from every innovation we've ever had, jobs increased and not decreased. We invented the wheel, more people drove around. We had factories, more people worked in the factories. And a lot of people think the AI revolution is different. This time it'll be different. I just think that the jobs will be different and changed. What I would tell someone out there right now is like, it doesn't matter how you view this right now. If you feel like you're going to be displaced, your job is to skill up, not skill down. Don't hide in a corner. You got to do something else.
Right.
I mean, if they can build robots to service the warehouse, they absolutely will. I mean, like, it's just disingenuous when they say, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to move people around to do different things.
Sure.
Of course, there'll be some mechanics out there that will repair robots, but like, how many mechanics do you need to repair 200 robots in a warehouse? Probably 2, unless they break a lot. If they break a lot, they'll just bring humans in. Now, also, the promise of automation has been around for a long time. So car manufacturers have been trying to do this forever. There's still people working on the lines because it can't do everything. Now, a warehouse solution is a little bit easier than building a Ford F-150 on the line. So I think mostly the jobs will change and you'll do something different than you did. There's not many blacksmiths anymore, but at one time there was a lot of them. And then the car came around. We don't ride horses anymore. So like, now we have a lot of mechanics. As cars go to electric, will we have less like mechanics? Absolutely. There's no more combustion engine. It's going to change. So what do they become? Computer technicians, because the cars, it's like an iPad with 4 wheels. That's what a Tesla is.
Yeah.
So I think it'll change, and I don't think it's going to eliminate work. Sam Altman from OpenAI believes that that's what happens, and we just sign up for universal basic income and quit working. I don't think that's good for society. The other thing that's interesting, though, what I do agree with you, Paul, is Amazon does have to think about this. If you do fire all the people that work for the company, you're going to sell less Amazon stuff. If there's no one there, no one has a job to buy any of the things, then Amazon itself has no reason to exist, because they're just a consumer goods company. And so if there's no consumers, what do you do? So society, they can kill themselves if they want to in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's actually an excellent point. Like, let's say you could automate 80% of the workforce, and if people aren't able to make money to spend it on selling things on Amazon, it's like, what are you doing? It's like,
yeah.
But one like thing this is slightly different from what we talk about, but it just has me thinking about it, is that I watch different like shows, and one of the shows that I watched is talking about like global population decrease, at least in first world countries. And they're saying that certain countries, even if they start increasing their birth rate, they're still not going to be able to catch up, because the way they were explaining it, like for instance, for everybody who was born in, let's say, 2000, they know that in 2045, all those folks are going to be 45 years old. There's no way to like make people age faster. And so somebody did the math, and they're saying supposedly that in 2056 or whatever it is, there's not going to be enough like people at this age demographic or working people. And so I'm kind of like thinking, if like part of AI and kind of replacing certain jobs is kind of, again, tin hat on to kind of deal with the problem of, loss of like a
labor.
working labor group. Yeah,
maybe it levels itself out somehow.
Probably, yeah. Unless you're already in the Matrix.
Yeah. Well, the population thing made me think of another movie, Idiocracy, where
Best movie
like
ever.
the intelligent people are not procreating, but there are other people that are. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That movie, when I saw it, like it freaked me out. And my friend was like, wasn't that like the greatest, funniest movie? I'm like, what are you talking about? This is the scariest freaking movie I've ever seen. So now every time I drive around and I see people watering plants, I'm just making sure it's not Gatorade. Because as soon as it becomes Gatorade, it's
what plants crave.
That's what plants, exactly, because electrolytes.
It has electrolytes. But I do have thoughts about the delivery aspect of that article. I actually thought like FedEx and UPS and Amazon were already doing that, like creating routes. So maybe like I'm just like, well, obviously the technology's there to like plug in all the addresses and somebody's going to map out the best route to do that. I thought that was already happening.
I think it is. I guess it's just not AI, but it definitely is because I mean, I'm sure you've had this too. You order stuff from Amazon, you can order it in 2 separate deliveries, but it comes on 2 separate trucks in the same day even. Right. And it's like, I don't know why. Like I ordered them minutes apart and they're coming from different locations or whatever it is. So there's clearly some kind of routing system they have there. I guess it's just not like, it's not optimized to the point where AI can optimize it, right? They want to optimize it even better so that they can save more money, save more time. It's not just about getting you your package quicker. It's also about how much money can we save getting you your package quicker.
So like they're trying to figure out inventory levels in the what they're called HQs or whatever they're called. I think it's HQ1
the distribution
over here in
centers is all they
Kernersville.
are.
Yeah. So like in the distribution center, they're trying to figure out in the Kernersville area, the Triad area, what do people buy? And that's what they're going to load things. And it's it's really cool here because most things that you order from Amazon can come same day or next morning. Like it's like, I never thought I would love this, but like, it's amazing, especially if you order anything electronics. Yeah. And we're here. There's no computer like things around here in the Triad and the 3 cities that we're in because all of that's gone. But if you need a motherboard, you can call Amazon. They'll bring you one tomorrow. Yeah, we don't have Micro Center here. I would love to have one. But we don't.
One that's so nice. Yeah.
I don't. I'm from California, and I like when I was with the IT firms out there, like we would go to Micro Center all the time.
So nice. So nice.
Love Micro
Just to look around. It'd be cool if we had one.
I was going to give you an example of how Amazon is going to optimize like the AI. And again, this is a joke to all of you crazy people online. So you know how they had the news, how they're not able to take pee breaks. So what they're going to do is they're going to have cars with water dispensers that's going to calculate just the right amount of water someone needs to drink just so they don't have to take a pee break within their shift. And it's going to optimize that with AI. And so people can't be like, oh, no, Do
that with lunch, too, to make sure they get just enough calories.
Because Amazon, they're going to do super micro stuff. They'll be like, your hair is just a bit too long. So when you're driving, they're going to come up with crazy optimizations.
Can you plug stuff in like pregnancy where it like shortens that window like significantly?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like I'm pregnant. Oh, you need to go pee every like 30 minutes. It's fine.
What's crazy about that is like right now people like AI, but AI existed. I remember like 7-8 years ago reading a story. I think it was with Target or one of the stores where the guy started receiving ads in like his newspaper for like pregnancy stuff. And so he got so upset and he called. He's like, what are you doing? Like there's no pregnant people in the house. Why are you sending me this stuff? His daughter was pregnant, but she didn't tell him yet. And I was like, oh my gosh. So they have these crazy algorithm nowadays that predicts certain things. And that was like before the explosion of AI now. So now I'm like, they probably could predict everything. They're just not telling us because they don't want to freak anybody out, you know?
Definitely. Okay, let's move on to our next story then. Who's in for a free TV? Get a free TV. So we're all familiar, I'm sure, with Samsung, LG, Sony, but have you ever heard of a product called Telly from a company called Pluto TV? So Pluto TV, I've seen. You get it. It's like a free app on a lot of you get it on Samsungs and LG TVs. It's like one of those standard apps. But the product is going to be called Telly, which, by the way, Telly is what we call TV in the UK. It's a
British thing. Yeah,
it's just called Telly. So the fact that it's named that just threw me off when I first saw it. I was like, where's the name? Like, give me, oh, it's Telly is the name. Okay, it's not that's the name. Okay. So if you bought a TV recently, you know, they're not exactly, all of them aren't cheap, right? You can get cheap TVs. They're always coming down in price. They're always getting bigger. We just put a 70-something inch TV in the lobby at Coda Foundry, and it was like $500. Like, It was like, it's insane how cheap they are. But you can spend all the way up to like $3,000, right? $4,000. Some of them are really expensive. Like, the more tech you get, like, not all about size, but the more tech you get. So, but this TV is going to be free. So it's a 55-inch 4K HDR TV, so pretty decent TV. It has so visually, it has this big screen, and then it has a sound bar in the middle of it, and then at the bottom of it is another screen. This, like, think of it as being half the height of the main screen. Maybe it's a little bit less. It's as wide as the main screen, but it's this extra screen that sits on the bottom. And in this screen, you'll see like widget information that's saying like sports and stocks and weather. And most importantly, you will see a lot of ads and sponsored content. They've also said that when the TV's not in use, the main screen isn't in use, that you'll also see ads on the main screen. So think about it as being one of those, like, you know, you get the Samsung like picture TVs where they show the art you can have on it. Well, instead of that, you're going to see an ad for something on your TV when it's not in use.
So much better.
So much better, right? Yeah. Hey, the TV's free there. Like, it's, you know.
So it can alert us when someone's free. Pregnant in the household.
Oh my God.
There's a whole bunch of extra stuff in this, right? They're basically saying there's also Telly rewards. They'll give you on-screen polls. You can get free subscriptions to Netflix and stuff. There's a voice assistant baked into this thing. There's like, hey, Telly. So kind of crazy. Has a built-in camera for Zoom calls and fitness tracking and tracking, period, right? Because here's one of the things, and this is what it comes down to. Data collection. They're collecting everything you watch, every ad that you look at. It's watching you because it has a camera. And there is a thing in this, I'm going to read this out. This is when you can opt out of data collection, right, with this TV. You can say, I don't want to do the data collection. I'm going to opt out of that. Here's what happens when you opt out. You have the right to opt out of sharing your viewing and activity data. But unfortunately, that means you will no longer have access to the services and must return the television. If you opt out and do not return the television, you would be charged a $500 amount to the credit card that is on file.
Oh my gosh.
So it's basically saying, we're going to watch you, we're going to track everything that you do, and if you're not in for that, it's going to cost you $500.
Listen, when you just
described that
what you just described to me right now is literally like if I was a Bond villain and I wanted to control the population. Like,
that's that vibe, doesn't it?
I would like literally invent that TV and, you know, and be like, yeah, this is for the all good of all humans in the world. This is the greatest thing ever. You just have to watch. But also at the same time, to like Sarah's remind me of that movie Idiocracy, I'm like, that just brings us one step closer. Like, what's next? The toilet/couch that I sit on that I don't get off. Like, they have, you guys and girls, anybody, if you haven't seen Idiocracy, it's more relevant today than ever before. Greatest movie ever made. I keep forgetting like the Wilson brothers' name.
Luke.
I was like, oh yeah, Luke Wilson, almost the brother. But I was just like, it's such a good movie. And to me, like when
and
I
Maya
hear
Rudolph,
yeah, and my gosh, when I hear stuff like this, like my biggest fear is we're going to end up living in idiocracy. And when I see stuff and so many people signing up for it, like, and I think this is the most egregious thing like a company has done. It's like, and here's the thing that I'm going to say, and this is going to, like, I hope no one takes out the wrong way. Like, the people that are going to, like, they're not targeting like the middle class. That, like, because a middle class, I bought my TV, $250 is huge. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, and so to me, it's literally taking advantage of people that, like, you know, it's just shameful. I don't even want to talk about it.
Hold on. They are also saying, though, and I quote this is by far the most advanced television ever developed.
Ever.
They're claiming this is the best TV ever made.
At spying.
It's spying.
It's best TV. It's best spyware ever created to watch you. Like, what happens when you sleep? Does it send like subliminal messages? And like, you know, when you wake up and you're like, oh, I want Gatorade. I feel it's what I should be watering my plants with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is ridiculous. I think there should be like a counter company that's like, you know what? don't buy that TV. Like, just trash it. We'll give you $250 to buy a TV yourself, just so you could live in freedom and enjoy your life. Because I mean, like, because for me, like, even if I work at McDonald's, like, let's say, like, you make $13 an hour, you're like, or whatever it is, like, you have this time. I just can't imagine people trading their time to own a TV. Like, just work at McDonald's for a couple of weeks, and you'll have like a $250 TV. Like, it's 2 weeks, and now all of a sudden you have a TV. And so I think people should not take the deal. You know, it's just so bad, so bad.
I'm hoping that Americans realize that being served ads is, and you watching ads, you could get paid more to do that than $500 for the lifetime of the television. Like, you know, that's the thing. Influencers get paid way more than that. And so if your private information is that important, you should be able to charge for it. This is no way that this actually works, Kevin, but it is the plot of The Kingsman. The Kingsman, if you watch the first Kingsman movie, this is the exact movie. Like, they had a phone, this is a television. And so like they took over the world with these devices he gave away for free. This is exactly what they're doing. I do think you're right, Paul. They target people that don't have means and like, oh, a free television. That's all they care about. I'll sign whatever. Who cares if they watch me? The camera's on all the time, I imagine. And, you know, you're walking around your living room, you know, so like, you know, pictures of you or whatever it is, you know, and like, it's your house. You shouldn't allow this to happen ever. You know, I mean.
All right, let me just put this in perspective. Would you let me give you a video camera and say, just put it in your room, anyone in your house, I don't care, just leave it on 24 hours, 7. Just like, think about that example. Would you let me do that? If the answer is no, you probably don't need that TV either.
Yeah. And I say, you give me the camera and I'm going to share it with everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God. My mind goes into so many bad places.
It's not just for me. It's for all of the world.
Oh my God. It's so terrible. Like, I shouldn't even say this because it's a PG show, but like, I wonder if that company is going to take that TV, because they go, I can't believe I'm going to say it. They have that TV. They're getting all that video. I wonder if there's some sort of sub market of people that are like, oh, I love watching people vacuuming the carpet, and they're gonna sell that to some country.
This
it's
is
like
be an
a $10 a month service.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're really into, you know, people washing their carpets with Bissell vacuums, $10 a month, you got this, and they're just gonna have the service, like, where they're gonna take your privacy and sell it to somebody else. I know, like, people, that will never happen, and I'm like,
I don't know how many of these they've pre-sold. There are limited numbers, by the way. I think it was 50,000 or something like that they wanted to put out. So it was a big number. And you can still go to the website. It's freetelly.com and sign up if you're interested.
So, Sarah, you signing up?
Well, here's the funny thing. Well, first, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product, that old saying. So, you know, keep in mind that. But I did go through the sign up. I did not put my actual information because I just wanted to see like what they were asking and everything. And so some of the like funny things that I noticed was, first, you have to agree that this will be your main television, like, and in a like central place in your home, so
where we can see you and watch you.
It was like where people will be like walking by and things like that. Like, it was crazy, the like stipulations that kind of came with it too, where like you have to agree that it would be on for, you know, a specific amount of time and everything. And just really started reminding me, I don't know how old you guys are, but you look about my age. But Net Zero, do you remember Net Zero? Where like you could get on the internet, but like your browser was surrounded by ads. But it was free internet.
Yeah.
I just think it's bad. Number one, they're joking that this is the best television on the planet. And being a TV aficionado as I am, this TV's crap. This is not a good television. It's terrible.
Oh, come on. You haven't even played with it yet.
I don't have to look at it. Hold on.
But do you like the idea of the additional screen though? Is that that's not an interesting thing?
It's too tall. Like, I would want my whole movie on it. So if I want a 75-inch television plus another 30-inch television underneath it, I would just have 105. Give me a 110 so I can watch the whole game on it. So like, you know, currently it's not an OLED television. Of course, you know, I paid more for mine, but I didn't pay $500, but it's not the best TV ever made by any stretch of the imagination. So LG has that.
You're not buying the marketing
currently this year. Yeah,
I could
I'm not in the market.
I could see a use for a secondary screen like that. I mean, not like a free one where it's all crap, but but only if like all the news channels and everything's like move their ticker to it, like so that the whole screen is unobtrusive and like all the stuff they'd put on the ticker goes into that secondary screen. I could see that being beneficial.
Yeah, but then everybody's got to buy into that. I just don't see that.
It's a whole like
it would be cool. Though. I agree. It would be cool.
Yeah, network that would have to buy into how they release two streams at once.
I'm going to tell you how they could ruin this whole plan. So you know how like when you wait for the bus,
it's not already ruined.
No, I'm going to ruin like like some people should apply for this free television because it's gonna not. It's perfect. Like so. You know how you wait for the bus and it's boring because I mean now everybody has iPhones, but they should just bus companies should just apply for that and just put those TVs at the bus stops.
Right.
You know, that's it. Like that's the only good use case. Like I'll look at some ads, I'll look at some free like shows, and guess what? Bus company, you just got a free TV, you know, and it's like
you bring up a good point. I wonder if we'll see stuff like this in public places because if you go to an airport, right? There's TVs hanging in airports all over the place. I wonder if this would be a use case for like an airport, where there is ads there, and you're in a public space already, so you have no perceived level of privacy anyway. So that could be.
They got their marketing wrong. Basically, we fixed it for them. You're welcome, whatever the name of your company is.
Telly,
fix it for you.
Whatever.
Telly. Yeah. So you're right. Putting these in a private space is
split it amongst four of us. Send it to the Null Podcast. You're welcome.
Putting these in a private space is obviously intrusive. Putting them in a public space, not as much. Like because you know, interesting.
Yeah, or like those gas station, like you know where the pump has their little like TVs. You can just put it there.
Yeah, much better. Much better usage. Okay, let's move on to our final kind of news story. So the state of Montana has banned TikTok. We've talked about banning TikTok on the show here before, but now the state of Montana has gone ahead and banned it. Starting January 1, 2024, TikTok will now be banned in the state of Montana. So Governor Greg Gianforte, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. He's a governor. He doesn't even care. He's never going to hear this. So he basically said that this is intended to safeguard the data of Montana residents. Are they Montanese? What are they from? Where are they from? Montana?
I think Montanans.
Maybe? Montanans? Okay, Montanans. Maybe? That sounds right. Montanans from the Chinese government. That's
all 100 of them.
So this ban is supposedly against the tech companies, specifically Apple and Google. Mm-hmm. They're in the big markets that the app is like basically downloaded from. Not the users. So they're saying that these app markets will be charged $10,000 a day if the app is available in the state of Montana. So here's some things to think about. The app companies have come back and said, well, it's not even possible. We don't even have that kind of filtering possible. We can't ban it by state. And there was pushback against that saying, well, you could do it by IP or by billing address. Okay, you could. That's a one kind of thing. Sure. Mm-hmm. You could probably technically figure this out.
Yep.
Unless you're kind of close to a border, right? Like, I don't know how that works. Because, you know, borders aren't real. They don't actually exist. They're not real physical things. So where does Montana start and the next state end? Like, who knows? Like, you know, what? It's available like 5 meters across the line, but 5 meters in, it's not. Like, it's not possible.
No,
it's that just is silly. Ultimately, also, they say it's a law and they're enforcing it against the stores. But ultimately, does it come down to the users having it as well? I think it does. I think it's a slippery slope. And just in response to this, TikTok did file a federal lawsuit against the state of Montana and kind of push back to this. Mm-hmm. So, Sarah, I don't know if you use TikTok or if you're a TikTok user, but how do you feel about this being banned in Montana?
I have lots of thoughts about this one. I've even talked about it on my Instagram. I talked about it even before he signed the law because I saw that it was coming. But I live in Utah, and our governor just passed a social media bill that is also terrible. And we can get into that another episode because I have a lot of thoughts about that. But this is the other thing about Utah. We have banned pornography. And so if you try to go to, I think, like Pornhub or something in my state, it has a, splash screen that says it's not available in your state. Okay, somebody downloads a VPN and woo, and I've got pornography, right? So it doesn't really help fix the problem at all because you can just install a VPN, etc. I've been to China. I've been behind the Great China Firewall. And where it blocks, access to Google products, access to Instagram, Facebook, and all of that. And again, people just install a VPN and they're on Instagram. So like, what is it actually solving? It's not solving anything. It's just like, hey, look at us. We're doing something, right? The other thing about it, with the countersuit from TikTok, I forget the word that it used in the suit. I looked at it, but it's basically saying, why aren't you doing anything about Instagram and Facebook and anything like that? Why is TikTok targeted? Because what you're saying, this is something that everybody else is doing. So like, it's illegal to target us specifically on these matters.
So here's what I think about this whole TikTok thing. And we had hearings on it, and lots of funny people with funny faces talked about TikTok. I think Buddy from Georgia had beady eyeballs, but
oh yeah.
So the thing that I don't understand about TikTok, if it is a national security concern, it should be banned. The NSA can figure this out, or already have figured it out in like 5 minutes. You put TikTok on an iPhone device, you go and see if it's tracking you. You can see where it leaks. They have technology. Apple could tell you if it's doing it right now in like inside of 10 minutes. Google could tell you on an Android phone and tell you if it's doing it. When we had the hearings before, none of that information came out. They just said it's bad, it's bad, it's bad.
Right.
I believe it's bad. I believe they are tracking information. I do think they're leaking it. Why don't they just ban it at the federal level if that's what it is? Having said that, I don't want an individual state in the business of deciding which app they don't like, because I might want to release the app and suddenly now I can't release it in Montana for whatever reason. The second thing it does is that it's going to criminalize the user for having an app on his phone. And if you're in another state, Utah, and you take a day trip over to Montana and you have a TikTok app on your phone and that's a criminal act, they can suddenly get you for crossing state lines with something, and where suddenly you're throwing people in jail for something that shouldn't be illegal to begin with. And so like, I think if the US government wants to ban TikTok, they should go out and do it. And then the states don't need to be in the business of telling us which apps we can have on our phone and which we can't. I believe that the First Amendment allows you that free speech, and you should have some freedom. And not all apps are good. You know, they're just not. But if there's a national security concern, which this specific thing, when they have to do this, it has to be for national security. They need to prove that, and no one's proved it yet. It just says it happened. I want to see the information actually come out and what China's using it for.
Well, I think the issue is that I think the issue is that when, to kind of Sarah's point, that when they do give you the information, they do prove it, it is nothing different than what Instagram is doing. The only difference is that it's going to China,
a foreign
not
actor.
To the US government.
Yeah.
So the Chinese government's using it, not the US government. They don't want to open that can of worms, because when they do, people are going to realize that they're also being tracked by their own government, and now that's going to be like, we don't want that either.
Yeah.
Well, technically, the law allows for the U.S. government to do it. They're saying for foreign actors, you can't do this, and that's part of that law that says
but my
that
point
foreign
is they don't want to highlight that.
I know,
but they say they don't want to highlight it. They don't want to. They don't want to put that out in public to be like, you know, Facebook and Instagram and all of these other apps are doing it. The only reason we're not going after them is because they're US owned, and the US government's got their finger in there, and we don't want to like disturb that. That's kind of a thing. And
for a fact, one point I'll let you talk here. One for a fact, like when if you looked at the January 6th people, how they found those people was from a combination of two things: video that they had, second, cell tower information. They went to AT&T, Verizon, all those guys, and grabbed all of the phones, and then they matched that face with a phone device, and that's how they found them and identified their record by doing that. Which means the NSA has access to every single phone call.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That happens in the US for every carrier. They already have it all. And so I think they should ban it if they're going to ban it. If not, I don't think it's up to Montana to decide that they're going to ban certain apps and criminalize people. It's kind of crazy.
Well, and so to Kevin's point, it's about who owns that data. So the US government has easy access to Instagram and Facebook data, but they don't have easy access to TikTok data. And that's what they're upset about, is that they don't have the ability to do that through TikTok. And so, yes, let's go ahead and ban it. I'm against even the government, like the US government, banning it, because if they have that data, this is why it's dangerous and this is why it's a security risk. I'm going to give that information to the people, and then the people, hey, you can decide if you are okay with taking that risk. But, you know, and it's okay for government agencies to ban it on their employees' devices. Totally get that, do that, because they can have another job or whatever, but you shouldn't tell citizens that they can and cannot have an app. Then we get into being the great China firewall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say, to Bobby's point, if it's literally a legitimate threat to our national security, then okay, yes, I get it, ban it. But if it's not, and if it's just like to you, what you said, Sarah, who controls the data, then it's like, you know, let it be. And I don't like TikTok. I think that majority of the content on it is complete trash. I tried to give it a chance the other day, and literally I saw 7 videos in a row of people lip syncing the song. It's horrible because it's something about eating whatever. And it's like, God darn it. And then I just realized I could just delete it. And I did delete it. And I was like, I don't need to be part of it. And so the fact that we have the ability to remove it from our phone and not worry about it, it's fine. Like, so I don't have to worry about it. But like, if it was like a national security and it's like, oh, they're going to get the codes to our missiles or whatever. Like, it's like,
I have those on
my
phone. So
yeah, exactly.
You haven't found your TikTok feed. You haven't got it right yet, Paul. That's all.
You know what it is? It's because
get it right. It's all cat videos. If
it'll be all cat videos. But I think
dog videos here.
It's like when you try it out for the first time, they'll just show you a bunch of random stuff, and they see what you like will like navigate to. And I was like, it's a terrible start.
But I will tell you, their recommendation kind of algorithm is one of the best in the business.
Oh,
that's why it's so addictive.
It is
very, very good.
So,
very good.
The way I discovered I should delete my TikTok and never use it again is when I went to the bathroom, probably like around midnight. And then at 4 a.m., I'm like, what the hell am I still doing here? And I was like, they got me good. And I'm like, oh God, the video before is better than the other one. It's like I had the best drug ever. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I barely got off. And I was just, I can't do TikTok. I'm already like my personality is too addicting. So a lot of people like I'll come to work. They're like, Paul, you look very tired. I'm like, yeah, I had to watch Netflix. And I'm like, well, what'd you do? Like, so there's this show came out. I think by this point, everybody saw it. I'm waiting for second season called Severance. I started watching it like Sunday night because I'll just watch one episode. Like Monday morning, right before work, I'm finishing the last episode. I'm like, oh, this was a great show because I cannot watch stuff like so. TikTok just via the addiction for me, it's like it's not good.
I like that you're
self-aware.
self-aware.
Legs go numb a little bit.
Listen,
legs are numb after 3 hours.
I got up and walked like a newborn, trying to barely make it to the door, like stumbling, like what is happening here? It's like I know it's a terrible visual, but I'm just speaking the truth. So watch out, use it responsibly. You know,
that's great.
But it's good if you get the right. Feed, it's good. Yeah.
Let's move on to our final section then. Our recommendation section. Null, not null. Let's go for recommendations. Switch it up this week. Let's go with you first, Bobby. What you got?
So today, Kevin knows that me and Kevin are both sneaker aficionados. We buy a lot of sneakers, and so I have found a new brand, and I'm rocking the Adidas 3.0 daily wear now. I think I'm going to get it in like 14 different colors. I like them, but we'll leave a link in there if you need a cool shoe that you can wear with khakis, jeans, or shorts or whatever, and it's not like it's got giant air bubbles or something on it. It's a low profile shoe. It's pretty cool. And it comes in any color you want.
You've always been a Nike guy, right?
I switched to Adidas.
Nice.
Adidas
just
recently.
to try them out.
I grew up near Beaverton.
Yeah.
There you go. I guess I own lots and lots of both. So my wife says I have way more shoes than she does. I do have a lot more shoes than she does. Okay, Sarah, what you got this week?
Okay, so my not null. I'm a huge like Hydro Flask person. I can't even tell you how many colors and different models of Hydro Flasks that I own. But this week I am now cheating on Hydro Flask because I found the best water bottle ever. So this is Owala. And the cool thing about it is the sipping area is all protected. But then this is a straw, so I can
Oh.
Or it's pour, so I can. So it's got both, and I am blown away, and I am obsessed. So now I'm gonna buy all the colors of this.
I like it. That's awesome. What you got, Paul?
First of all, I just want to say, Kevin, did you come up with this idea? I just want to ask.
Yeah.
Who came up with this?
Yeah, I did. Why?
You're a genius. It's like, this is the
I gambled then.
Sponsors watching. You got 4 amazing salespeople here online. Look at how Sarah I want to buy that thing right now. As soon as we get off, I'm getting that. And so sponsors link
in the description.
Perfect opportunity. Yeah, it's like perfect opportunity. So come on, like, because I was about to make a comment. I'm like, I'm going to talk about this product that I use that saved my literally this video I made. I'm like, but they should sponsor us. Like that would be. But so this is a perfect segue to talk about things that we all use from day to day. We got to make a list and we got to reach out. Like, hey, this is like whatever. I'm just saying, but this is genius because it's like a great fun way. And again, we talk about the things that we use. And so for me, like if people don't know, I have a channel called Coding After 30. And like I recorded a video and I'm like the laziest person to record a video. I just want to do it once. Like I just don't have time. I'm not a YouTuber, but I still want to make content. And I have this nice mic here. And I recorded a video and I realized all the audio was recorded through like the computer speakers. It sounded horrible. It sounded terrible. And I was just, I was like, I can't publish this video. So I'm not going to make another video for next week. I was like so disappointed. I was like, you did such a great job on that video. And then I discovered Adobe Podcast Beta. They have this thing where they will just magically fix your audio. And you literally will go ahead, upload your audio file, and it could be like complete trash. And then you wait 10 minutes, and when it comes back, it's like as if I used this expensive mic to record it. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So moving forward, I'm going to just put all my audio through that just because. It's the
power of AI.
Yeah, power of AI.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's AI.
Yeah.
It's super good. I agree. Yeah, I've messed with it. It's very good. It does a really good job. Okay, so I'm doing a not know this week too. We've got 4 recommendations this week instead of something to avoid. But my not know this week is I'm going to go for a piece of hardware.
I did buy Energizer this week.
There you go.
I had to buy batteries, and I'm like, I'm not going Duracell. I gotta go buy Energizer.
Energizer needs to sponsor us now.
Exactly. Even we're using our own recommendations. This is
beautiful.
Sorry, Kevin. Keep going. Yeah,
that's good. So I'm going with a piece of hardware this week, and it's something that I've had for about 18 months or so now. And it's my keyboard. I don't know if I can hold it up, but I went for one of these mechanical keyboards. Right? I don't think you can see the whole thing, but it's a Keychron K2. So the reason that I bought this, I have 2 setups here. Nice. So you have the same keyboard?
Yes, just not a school of colors as yours.
Okay, awesome. So you can back me up on this, Paul. So here's the thing. Here's why I love this keyboard. I have a dual setup here. So I have a Mac over here and I have a PC over here. I used to have 2 mice, 2 keyboards. And I know you can get a KVM switch and it's like old school. I know you can do that, but they didn't kind of work well together, and it was kind of like it was lame, and I just never bothered with it. They don't always work very well. But this keyboard basically has a KVM switch built into it. You can switch between wired or Bluetooth and between Mac and PC setups on it. So the key configurations, 2 switches on the side. So I have it wired to my PC, and I have it Bluetooth into my Mac. You can actually have multiple Bluetooth too if you wanted to. I could have set it up Bluetooth to the PC, but I game on it sometimes, so I want it to be wired. And then it has the little Mac and PC switch. So every time I switch between computers now, I just switch this little switch on the side, and it switches between the 2. And it's really, really good. It's a solid, like it's made out of metal. You can change the keycaps. Like Paul had the same keyboard, but he has different keycaps on it. You can actually change the switches on it too. It's fully customizable. And this thing is less than $100.
So can I ask a question about the keyboard?
Yeah.
Just curious. I just want to know. So if you switch from PC to Apple, does it move the control key?
That's what I was going to ask too.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Well, in terms of like its functionality, it does.
Yeah. So the command key and the control key on an Apple keyboard, command key is where a control key is. So when you switch from Windows, which I do all the time because I'm in a VM environment.
Yep.
I'm always moving my finger around because it's.
Yep. So I'm hitting so this is the thing that I do have to get used to somewhat. So I'm like copy and paste, for instance. I'm Control C, Control V on a PC. I'm Command C, Command V on a Mac, and it is a different key.
Right.
So it works great. Like I often will make the mistake initially because I'll be like, am I on the PC or am I on the, because I'm using it on one monitor as well. I have the same monitor. I just switch the input on the monitor, so the monitor comes into the same it's got the PC in it, and I'll sometimes be like, am I on the Mac or the PC? And it'll take me a second to like realize where I am.
Yep.
And I'll be like, which key shortcuts am I? Yeah, exactly. which keyboard shortcuts am I using today?
Try and right click.
Right. Yeah. Forget that.
Hey, I can. You can set it up on a Mac.
Yeah. I know. You
that's one of the first things I turn on a Mac is. But yeah, very, very cool. If you got a dual setup, definitely worth doing. Super customizable. It's full backlit RGB as well, so you can have all the lights, which make you write faster on the keyboard, of course.
Coded nice.
You got to have all the lights. Paul, you like yours?
Oh yeah, I got 3 of. Well, I had one, then I dropped it. One thing I would say, if you have it plugged in, like with this wire, if it falls and you're unlucky and it falls, hits that part of it, there's a chance it might break that piece. But if you don't have cats, you're probably not going to have that issue. So I'm just going to blame it on my cat. But I have 2 of them. I have this one. I like the thicker one, but I also have their low profile one.
Okay.
And like for me, like if I had to buy a new keyboard, I would just buy the same thing. I really like it. It's really nice.
And that's the other thing with it too, actually. Speaking of the cable, you can change the cable out.
Yeah.
There's not a standard cable to it, so you can just do it to USB-C cable. Yep. So any USB-C cable will work into it. So I got a nice, like, I bought a red braided one. It looks super cool on the desk, and you can change out those cables, and like you can fully customize it. Solid piece of hardware. Definitely recommend. You get it for as low as like $70.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's crazy how cheap it is. I bought another one that sat in a drawer that was like $200, and I regret getting it. And I should have just sent it back and just gone for one of these. It's just way better.
Yeah, it's good.
Good recommendations this week.
Yeah.
I like this stuff. Anybody, any of those companies want to sponsor us?
I know.
This is the perfect segment for it too. I was
like,
Kevin is a genius. It's like we're really excited to talk about products that you could be buying if you go down to our.
There you go. It's good stuff.
Just start putting the Amazon links though. Amazon can pay us.
Yes, I will put all the links to everything down in the description. Definitely. Yeah.
How do you sign up for Amazon?
I would definitely do that.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I would definitely set that up. Well, that's it for this week. If you've made it this far, as always, I ask, if you haven't left us a review yet, what are you doing? Like, you've got this far, please leave us a review somewhere and a 5-star rating. I'll report back that we didn't get any emails to our inbox this week complaining about anything that we asked for last week. So,
good sign.
Yeah, so I'm assuming everybody left us
girls
reviews.
joining in the party.
No, none of that.
Oh, this is awesome.
So this
is so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing people love it. So yeah, everybody must be happy. So you've all left us 5-star reviews. That's awesome. But if you don't like it, don't leave us a review. Send us an email and tell us why.
Leave us 5 stars and tell us why you hate it. That's the deal. You have to do that.
That is the deal.
That's the deal. Because we do want to know, if people do hate it, we do want to improve. Like,
True.
Like if we're doing something terrible, like, let us know. We may just dismiss it. Probably will.
Yeah, like valid criticism, It's like.
There you go. Exactly. Okay, so we'll be back next week. We'll catch you guys later.